I'd like to end my time tonight talking about one other issue very quickly. Today, I introduced legislation that will, and it's H.R. 1940, which basically says that the federal government shall not interfere in those states that have eliminated the penalties on marijuana use and sales or have allowed the operation of medical marijuana dispensaries. This legislation, H.R. 1940, would basically leave it up to the states as to whether or not people should be permitted to use marijuana, especially medical marijuana. I don't see any reason why the people of the United States should face the type of controls and the type of police state activity that impacts their life by people, whether they're well-meaning or not, who have set up a bureaucratic, basically it's a bureaucratic law enforcement state that will activates and prevents people from living their own lives. If indeed someone is using marijuana for medical purposes especially, but also even for recreational use, someone's in their backyard smoking some marijuana, we should not spend limited dollars. We have limited tax dollars here. We're cutting off veterans' benefits. We're cutting down on people who need help, but then we're spending it on trying to put in jail someone who's smoking marijuana in their backyard or trying to supply someone with some marijuana to smoke in their backyard. That is absolutely absurd. And my bill, H.R. 1940, will insist that if a state has legalized the use of marijuana or the medical use of marijuana, that the federal government cannot infringe upon that. At a time, it's sort of like if you see a guy over in the corner of a park and he's surrounded by policemen and they throw him to the ground and they handcuff him and they put him in jail and they go through the court procedures, the judges, all these expenses, and that's he was smoking some marijuana. Versus the other end of the park where some lady's getting raped, but there's no policeman there, and they spend all of their money focusing on the people who are smoking marijuana. That makes no sense. When you have limited dollars, we should especially respect people's right to live their own lives. And if they make mistakes, which they do, they'll have to live with those mistakes. I would ask my colleagues to support H.R. 1940, which is consistent with America's laws that should be made. Criminal law should be made at the state and local level and not at the federal level. We should not have a federal police force knocking in doors, going into people's homes, spending huge amounts of money in order to prevent people from personal consumption behavior. So I'd ask my colleagues, if you believe in liberty, believe what our founding fathers believed in, support a strong patent system and oppose H.R. 9, and then support my legislation, H.R. 1940, which will restore to the American people and to the states therein the right to control criminal law and their own personal behavior. And with that, I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back to